Every morning the same routine would begin, a silent play that only I knew was a performance. I would wake up, and for a fleeting moment before my eyes fully focused, I was just me. But then the world would rush in, and the person I was supposed to be would take over. My name was Ray, and that name felt like a heavy coat I was forced to wear, even on the sunniest of days. It was a good name, a strong name, but it wasn't my name. It belonged to the boy everyone saw, the boy I was supposed to be. I would look in the mirror and see a stranger with my eyes, a shadow that moved when I moved, but never quite felt like me. The feeling of being out of place was a constant companion, a quiet hum beneath the surface of my life. It was there at the breakfast table with my family, who I loved dearly, but who saw a son I didn't recognize. It was there at school, walking through hallways filled with people who seemed so comfortable in their own skin. I felt like a ghost drifting through scenes that were meant for someone else. I did everything I was supposed to do. I played the right sports. I had the right friends. But it all felt like I was watching a movie about a character named Ray. And I was just the actor playing the part, waiting for the director to yell cut. My room was my only sanctuary, the one place where I could let the mask slip, just a little. Here, the silence wasn't empty. It was filled with my own unspoken thoughts and dreams. I would often just sit and stare out the window, watching the world go by and wondering if there was a place in it for the person I felt I was on the inside. This person didn't have a name yet, or a face I could clearly see. She was just a feeling, a whisper in my heart that told me there was more to me than what the world saw. This feeling was both a comfort and a source of deep, aching loneliness. The weight of this secret was immense, a constant pressure in my chest. I would go through the motions of a normal day, smiling, laughing, and agreeing, all while feeling a growing chasm between my inner self and my outer world. People would say, "Ray is such a quiet boy," or "He's so easygoing," and I would just nod. They didn't know that my silence was a fortress, built to protect a fragile truth I didn't even understand myself. I was living my life behind a wall of glass, able to see everything but unable to truly touch or be touched by any of it. The boy in the mirror was a stranger, and I was just the shadow standing behind him. Pretending became my greatest skill, a craft I perfected with each passing day. I learned to mimic the boys around me, copying their walk, their way of talking, the easy confidence they seemed to be born with. I became a master of disguise, my entire life a costume party where I was the only one who knew I was wearing a mask. My friends would talk about girls, and I would nod along, my heart a hollow drum. My family would talk about my future, about the man I would become, and a quiet panic would seize me. They saw a straight line, a clear path, but all I saw was a maze with no exit. The world saw me as normal, and in a way, that was the most painful part. To be seen, but to be seen incorrectly, is a unique kind of invisibility. My parents were proud of me, my teachers liked me, and my friends included me. On the surface, I had everything a boy my age could want. But this acceptance was based on a lie, a carefully constructed version of myself that I presented to the world. Every compliment felt like a confirmation of the disguise, every expectation a new bar on my cage. I longed for someone to see past the facade, to notice the flicker of unease in my eyes, but no one ever did. This constant performance was exhausting. It was like holding my breath, waiting for a moment when I could finally exhale, a moment that never seemed to come. I would come home from school and collapse in my room, the energy it took to be Ray completely draining me. The simple act of being, of existing in the world, felt like a monumental effort. I felt like an imposter in my own life, and I was terrified that one day someone would see the cracks in my performance and expose me. But what they would expose, I wasn't even sure. I just knew it wasn't the boy they all thought I was. The loneliness of this experience was profound. It wasn't the loneliness of being alone, but the loneliness of being surrounded by people and feeling completely unseen. I was an island, and the waters around me were filled with the loving, well-intentioned people in my life who had no idea I was drowning. I smiled when I was supposed to smile and laughed at the right jokes, all while a different person was screaming inside me. A person who was desperate to be known, to be understood, and to be loved for who she truly was, not for the role she was forced to play every single day. One night, scrolling aimlessly through the internet, I stumbled upon a world I never knew existed. It was a video, a travel vlog from Thailand. But it wasn't the temples or the beaches that caught my eye. It was the people. Specifically, it was a group of women, laughing and talking as they walked through a vibrant night market. They were beautiful, they were stylish, but most of all, they were radiating a kind of confidence I had never seen before. The video's description mentioned the term Kathowi, and a quick search opened a door in my mind. These were transgender women, and they were living their lives openly and joyfully. I fell down a rabbit hole, watching video after video. I saw transgender women from Thailand telling their stories, sharing their experiences, and simply living. They were not hiding or pretending. They were just being themselves, unapologetically. They spoke with a strength and grace that left me in awe. For the first time, I saw a reflection of the person I felt inside, not as a blurry shadow, but as a real, possible, and beautiful human being. It was like a light had been switched on in the darkest room of my heart, illuminating a possibility I had never dared to dream of. The contrast between their vibrant lives and my gray, muted existence was stark. They wore their identities with pride, like a badge of honor. I wore mine like a heavy, ill-fitting suit of armor. Watching them, a strange and unfamiliar feeling began to bubble up inside me. Hope. It was a tiny flicker at first, but with every video, every story of acceptance and self-love, that flicker grew brighter. The idea that it was possible to be born in one way, but to become the person you were meant to be, was revolutionary. It was not a flaw or a mistake. It was a journey. These women from a country halfway across the world became my secret mentors. They didn't know I existed, but they were teaching me the most important lesson of my life. They were showing me that it was okay to be different, that my feelings were valid, and that a life of authenticity was possible. Thailand, a place I had only known from maps, transformed in my mind. It became a symbol of freedom, a beacon of hope. It was no longer just a country. It was a promise of a place where someone like me could maybe, just maybe, finally belong. The decision to leave was the hardest and easiest one I ever had to make. It was hard because it meant leaving behind everything I had ever known, my family, my home, the fragile safety of my familiar life. The thought of telling my parents was paralyzing. How could I explain a feeling I barely understood myself? How could I tell them that the son they loved was a stranger to me and that I had to leave to find the real me? The words wouldn't form, so I didn't say them. The decision became a silent, heavy secret I carried alone. But in another way, the decision was easy because staying felt like a slow and certain death of the spirit. The hope that had been ignited by those videos from Thailand had grown into a burning fire. I knew with a certainty that was both terrifying and exhilarating that I had to go. It was a matter of survival. I had to know if the life I saw on the screen was real, if a place of acceptance truly existed. I saved every dollar I could from my part-time job, my secret fund for a future I was just beginning to imagine. Each dollar was a brick in the bridge to my new life. The weeks leading up to my departure were a blur of quiet goodbyes that no one else recognized. I spent more time with my family, memorizing the sound of their laughter, the comfort of my mother's hugs. Every moment was tinged with a bittersweet sadness. I was saying goodbye not just to them but to the life I was supposed to have, to the boy named Ray. I was grieving a life that was never truly mine, and it was a lonely, silent mourning process. I packed a single suitcase, filling it with the bland, boring clothes of the boy I was leaving behind. Leaving a note felt like a coward's way out, but it was the only way I could find the words. I wrote that I was going away to find myself, that I loved them more than words could say, and that I was sorry for the pain I knew this would cause. I told them I was safe, and that I needed to do this for me. I left the note on my pillow, the place where I had dreamt of a different life for so long. As I walked out of the house in the pre-dawn quiet, the weight of my suitcase was nothing compared to the weight of that unspoken goodbye. I was stepping into the unknown, with only a flicker of hope to guide my way. Arriving in Bangkok was a complete sensory overload. The heat, the smells of street food, the constant hum of traffic and unfamiliar chatter. It was overwhelming and thrilling all at once. I found a small, cheap guest house and spent the first few days in a daze, paralyzed by fear and loneliness. The hope that had carried me across the ocean now felt fragile and honestly kind of foolish. Here I was, in the city of my dreams, and I had never felt more alone. I was still Ray, still hiding, but now I was hiding in a place where I knew no one and couldn't even speak the language. Doubt began to creep in, whispering that I had made a terrible mistake. One afternoon, desperate for some human connection, I went to a small cafe. I sat by myself, trying to be invisible, when a friendly voice broke through my bubble of anxiety. "You look a little lost," she said in perfect English, with a warm, genuine smile. Her name was Rosie. She was a Thai woman with kind eyes and an infectious laugh. She worked at a local foundation that helped newcomers and LGBTQ+ youth. It was as if the universe had heard my silent plea and sent me an angel. We talked for hours, and for the first time since I arrived, I felt a sense of calm. Rosie didn't ask me a lot of invasive questions. Instead, she just listened. She listened to the things I said, and more importantly, to the things I didn't say. She seemed to understand the fear and confusion in my eyes without me having to explain it. She told me about her work, about the community she was a part of, and about the many people like me who had come to Thailand searching for a place to be themselves. She saw the boy sitting in front of her, but I got the sense that she also saw the person I was yearning to become.